welcome, guys, to our free CorelDRAW Graphics Suite Power Half Hour, filled with awesome bonus content. My name is Shania Yap, publisher of Sign Africa, Practical Publishing. And I'd like to introduce our guest speaker, but you've already been chatting to Mo while I was having some technical difficulties. But Mo Jogi is the Design and Strategy Director at MSD and a CorelDRAW Master. He's a regular contributor and presenter of our CorelDRAW content in our magazine, in these online sessions that we've been doing, and at our expos when we're allowed to do them. So just some housekeeping rules. We have the chat function, which you guys have all been using perfectly. We can stay in the chat function. The last one we did, it worked well. You can ask your questions there. You can just let us know if you're having any issues. We will share a recording of the session within 24 hours by email. And if you stay logged into the webinar platform straight after the session, you can replay the session straight away too. But we will email the link with some feedback in the morning. If you have a question for Mo, please post these in the chat section. As much as I'd love to interrupt Mo, I will. I'm just going to interrupt him and I'm going to ask him your questions. So if you have any questions about what he's covering as we go through it, just shout and we'll get him to answer it. Okay, Mo, so we're at that part where we can kick off. We're looking at the CorelDRAW Graphics Suite 2020, and we're looking at taking typography to a new level of creativity. So I'm going to hand over to you so you can tell us more about this. Oh, you're on mute, Mo. You know, I love it when you chat like that and then we can't chat anything. There we go. Good dry run. Now you can tell us.
So my apologies. You guys can hear me okay now? Thanks, Shania, for unmuting me, by the way. Okay, guys, welcome from my side. Great to be with you. And Shania, is always great to be with the Sign Africa team. You know, it's an awesome brand. And we have lots of fun together. So let's jump into it. Essentially, what I'd like to start with, as Shania suggested, is talking about typography. And I would like to open the conversation around variable fonts. So in the chat pod, I'm not able to see the chat pod, so Shania basically plays my eyes and ears, and she does a much better job of organizing this sort of stuff than I ever will in this lifetime. I'd like to ask, has anybody heard of variable fonts? If you could just say yes or no in the chat pod, then I'll have an idea of whether I should explain it or not.
Yes, no, yes, no, 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 no. More no's than yeses. That's
okay. Thank you.
Hey, Ken. Seeing all these names in the chat section that I haven't seen in real life for a while.
Right.
Sorry.
Right.
Okay, another yes. Okay, so a sprinkling of yeses amongst quite a few no's.
Okay. So for the yeses, please bear with me while I give a quick explanation of variable fonts. So variable fonts are part of the OpenType standard, and basically what it allows for is it allows for multiple weights and styles of a typeface to be built and baked into a single font. And the advantage of that is that it's going to allow for quicker output if you are doing outputs to print that is, and for web it's going to mean a thinner file, a much slimmer file online. Okay, and basically how it works is that you control the variability of the weight, the slant, the gradation, all those wonderful things is built into the actual type itself. So let's see how this kind of plays itself. Yeah, I've got a piece of copy. In working groups or whatever the case may be. There's two little things you can be able to go ahead and control the font. Are you guys able to see my screen okay? Is the resolution okay, or is it difficult to read? Can I just get a quick confirmation on that?
Okay, the screen is fine. Your sound is fading though. I don't know if that means you should keep still and keep talking into the microphone, Mo.
I shall not breathe. Is that better?
Yeah, don't breathe and just keep dead still. It's simple,
Right.
really. I don't know why you can't do that.
I'll shout at you guys. I'll shout really loudly. Okay, I'm not good at shouting.
And they're saying that is much better. So stop breathing. I think it's working for us.
Okay. So if I do go blue and keel over, that will be the end of the session. Okay. All right. Let's dive into it. So what you will notice is that there's two locations. This little double A icon that you're seeing on my main taskbar, that's going to give you access to the variable fonts controls, as well as on your properties Docker inspector of your Mac, you're going to get this double A icon, which will allow you to do variable fonts. So what now basically happens is instead of you being able to just go, hey, I want a regular, I want a narrow, I want a light, I want an ultra light, I want a bold, I want a black, you can now choose the weights based on visual preference, visual feedback. So you can see, as I'm doing this, I can control this numerically. And what's cool about this, guys, is it's cross-platform. So this will transfer very well across CSS for web. Right? So for print, of course, it's great. It needs a much more compact file. For web, it even gets better. This particular font, you guys, is source sans variable. And the next one we're going to look at is Amstel bar. And both these fonts are available on GitHub. So if you would like to know the location, just ping Shania a mail and I will send you the link to it. They're absolutely free. They're part of the Google Font project. So you can either go and Google it or you can drop Shania a mail and we'll send you the information for that. But let's look at something that has a little bit more meat to it. And we'll look at some of the variables. So this font here is called Amstel var. If I go ahead and select a single output, and I happen to go over to the text tool, you'll see that this is the word now, we're sitting at 96 point. Why am I emphasizing this particular font very heavily? It's because when I open up the variable font options, you guys, we get a small board of possibilities, okay? So again, these naming conventions may seem arbitrary to you. The reason they are that is because they need to find with CSS, and that's where it's going to come from. So, for example, and I've actually made a list. If you're interested, if you're a type geek like me, I'm more than happy to share it with you. Just think Shiny and I'm happy to send you that list. So, for example, I just point out a couple of
I feel like you're giving me a lot of work. I'm just saying. I mean, right now I've heard my name mentioned like 3 times. Where people are going to be emailing me and asking me stuff. Mo, can you hear the little bubbles of water coming through? There, those are messages. You must put your notifications off.
If you feel that Tanya is being like overworked or whatever, you're welcome to email me, and I'll send you the information willingly too. Okay.
I've got a question, Mo. Sorry, that someone's asked. Thanks, Deepak. He's saying that they can still hear the notification sound. It's still loud. So just push that little bell at the top so you can turn off the notification sounds. Otherwise, you hear all the chat messages coming through. And it's
on my side?
Yeah, because mine is off. I've done my bit.
Hold on.
And no one's saying I sound like I'm underwater. It's just you, pal.
How's that? Is it good?
Yeah, that's better. Someone send a message quick. Someone said you should sit still. I love it. Okay, that's better. Now notifications are coming through. You've done it.
Off the call?
Yeah, your sound is just echoing. I'm wondering if
I'm in an echo chamber.
Yeah, you are a bit. I'm sorry about that.
Hello.
Sorry, guys.
Let's
And all your suggestions are 100% right. Mo should have earphones in with a speaker. We're just going to roll with it right now, though. So, okay.
We've got like 10 minutes left, so let's just do this.
But you must sit still. That's a real instruction from Debbie, and I agree.
I really don't care. So if I click on the AA, what you'll notice is we've got different types of possibilities in terms of how this plays out. So for example, we have things like grading. Now what's cool about grading, you guys, is you are able to change the weight of a typeface without actually changing the amount of space it takes, right? So for example, we've got XLPQ, which deals with the width, so that's light to black. We've got grad. I'm just going to give you the theory first, I'll give you the explanations, or I will show you physically how it works. So we've got grad, which is the very first option, really cool. So it deals with weight without taking up more or less space, so it works within the defined space, which is awesome. Then we've got extra, which is basically dealing with the curve width. And then we'll look at YTLC. So you'll kind of work out that Y is the y-axis, and LC for lowercase, and then YTAS, a y-axis again, and AS for ascender. So that's basically how you're going to be basically kind of these values. Okay? So this now has come together. I'm going to go ahead and jump over to the next slide where we just have one piece of text, and I'm going to go ahead and explain some of the things. So I'm going to grab for a minute, and you'll notice that, okay, let's go light. So observe that I've gone light on the typeface, but I'm using the same amount of space, right? And you're going heavy on the typeface. Isn't that cool? So we're able to use the same amount of space, but decide whether we wanted it light or heavy. So that's pretty nuts. The next one we want to discuss is XOP2. So you can see this is a typical kind. I've got a left line, that's why it's moving from left to right. Okay, a typical kind of left to right on the line, right? So we're going to do that, and then we'll talk about two more, you guys, and then we'll go on to the next element. Okay.
Sorry, Mo, to interrupt. So those guys that are saying that Mo's screen looks a little blurry, or you want to just see a bit more detail, just to the left of the chat window, there's an arrow. If you click on that arrow, it makes Mo's screen bigger. Mo, I don't know if you can sharpen the resolution on what we're seeing on your side. If I look at the word variable fonts in green, it's a little fuzzy, but I don't know if that's important.
That might be a result of the web screen software. I can potentially zoom in.
All right.
So let me try and zoom in. Tell me if this is better. Does it make a difference?
Slightly, yeah.
Okay.
That's good. Okay, that does help. Somebody.
It does? Okay, cool. So I'll just yeah. Thanks for doing that. I'll just zoom in whenever you guys deem appropriate. Okay. So just shout out, keep doing that, okay? And Jenny, I'm trying not to move, see, I'm totally...
Really try your best. Yeah, don't move.
Is that good?
Yeah, okay. Much better. And
right.
Stop breathing now. And just
so, we were talking about YTLC, so remember that's lowercase. And this is really good for playing with things like box height. So let's assume you've got a piece of design where, you need to get a lot of content on. Let's assume you're working on, what would be a good example, property advertising. So they want to cram a lot of content into a very limited amount of space. And now the typeface is filling in on print because you have to go to 4-point and below, or you're doing legal stuff or whatever. And this is a great way of increasing or decreasing the X height so that less points become more legible. And then lastly, we've got lowercase, sorry, uppercase, which we don't have in this case. So that's not going to be good. Does that make sense? Let me do one more which I quite enjoy, descender. So what's going to happen when we play with descender? So I'm able to bring down the descender, I'm able to extend the descender, and YTAS, as you guys would have guessed, is ascender. So watch what happens to the D's, right? So you can now start creating this really cool type letter form, taking advantage of what's baked into the font, and you don't even need to have the font installed in your computer. It just needs to be available on the iPad. So saves you a ton of RAM, especially for those that are in pre-press, where you can have like tons and tons of fonts. We're not going to have an opportunity to talk about font manager in this session, but probably in a later session, which I'm going to talk about towards the end of our session. Okay? So with that done, let's hide that dude for a minute. I'm going to move on from variable font to the next subject matter. If there are any questions, we'll have. And over to Shania just to introduce the next topic area.
So let AI boost your productivity. How is that possible?
Right. Good question, Shania. So there's two. Oh, quick question. How many of us are on 2020? If you just throw that into the chat pod, please. 2020. Is anybody in 2020 just like a yes or whatever version you're on? If you can just let us know what version you're on, so we kind of tailor the conversation to make it as inclusive as possible. Okay. Yesterday, for those of us that are thinking of 2020, Corel has got a 3,200 Rand cash back offer. Chania and I were just kind of discussing it before we jumped onto this session. So if you'd like to have more info, I'm not sure that I'm not stepping out of bounds. Please mail Chania.
No problem. I've got a list going of.
Please mail Chania's office, okay? And we'll endeavor to get to the details. I think it's a good deal. So if you're looking to upgrade, then you may as well take advantage of it. Neither Shania or I work for Corel, so we don't get any
No, neither of us do. Mo, are you seeing chats coming through? My internet connection is just acting up now. I don't know. I didn't hear what you said about the deal. I'm not sure if.
Let me have a look.
Sorry, just to check that we've still got everyone with us.
Send us the details. Tom, you have our emails to send us the details. Tom, that needs to be prefixed by a please or suffixed by a please. You know what I mean, bro? Don't be like that. Okay, Tom. So I'm not seeing X3. 2017, X5, 2017. That's oldest. Okay, you're on an X version. I feel your pain, right? Anyway, these features I'm sharing with you are 2020, and they're going to make a much of a difference in your life. And I hope, well, it has in my life, so I hope it's going to make a difference in yours too. So thank you for that. I'm going to go ahead and just share with you some of the possibilities, right? So oftentimes we are told, hey man, take this image, which is A4, and make it A3, or whatever the case may be, and that generally becomes a challenge. So, each of us come up with different methodologies by either going into our image editing software and then, taking it up 20%. My methodology is taking it up 20% 3 times, do an unsharp mask, and then recalculate. And of course, you're losing data as you go along. So this feature, of course, will result in you losing data because the computer's kind of guessing what should be there. But it's got a really interesting algorithm that so if you look at the kind of artifacting that you and I typically use to typically like, so this is not the kind of result we're going to do together. What we're going to do, so this is like in the function, right? But I think it's absolutely worth the money. So let me tell you why. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this guy up to 400%, and I'm sure a lot of you are pros, so you're going to go, oh dear, that's not a good idea. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to bitmaps, and we're going to choose remove JPEG artifacts. So that's going to remove JAGGs and JPEG. So if you've got, that kind of fuzzy halo going on with that, this is going to allow us to remove that, okay? Next thing we're going to then go ahead and do is we are going to go to bitmaps again. I can do a resample image straight off the toolbox here, resample bitmap, or I could do it through the menu. It doesn't matter, it's the same thing. And let's do a stupid large one. I'll go 400% on this one. So it's 400% both ways. I'm going to tell the computer what type of image this is. So this is a photorealistic image. Right? So this is kind of new to the experience, and we're going to do a bit of noise reduction. So we're going from a just under a meg file to 16 meg file. Okay, so click on that. Allow the engine to process, and then we kind of have a look at what the final result is. So basically, what's happening here is it does bicubic interpolation. So if you could imagine an array of pixels that are 3 by 3, so we've got 9 pixels in total. We'll take the middle pixel. Here's basically the ridiculous client request. Can you take this image and blow it up from its current size to an A3, right? Which is typically what we need to do oftentimes, right? Whether we're doing roll-up banners or whatever the case may be. And typically when we do that, we get these JPEG artifacts. These are called JAGs, okay? And it's a result of the computer guessing what information should be there. And that's typically how upscaling works, right? It puts in pixels that aren't actually there. So it needs to guess what those pixels are, and it does a best guess scenario. In this new version, what they've done is they've built in this artificial
Are we meant to be seeing your screen now, Mo?
Oh, heck, are you not?
I mean, you and I look, great.
I apologize.
But we need to see your screen.
Yeah, ne? It's a Thursday morning. All right, let's try that. All right, so now let's go back to, let's do Mexican wave moment.
Yeah, please share the screen and redo the steps. Thanks, Mazan.
So,
do that.
Okay, so you guys can see my screen. Okay, thanks for that, Shania.
Pleasure.
Right, so here's typically what I was talking about, just to rewind a little bit again, you guys. So you see these fuzzy edges. I mean, you and I are all quite used to this, right? You take an image, you enlarge it, and then you add noise to hide it, and so on. You kind of come up with ways, right? And what I was saying earlier, and I'm not sure if you got that, is the methodology that I had invented for myself was to go, it's like that, excuse me, was to go up 20%, and then okay, up 20% again, and then okay, up 20% again, and then okay, so 3 times on average, I had written an action for it, and then do an unsharp mask, and then go to the, because it's a zero-sum game, it always kind of calculates from a base 0 and work its way up, right? But the challenge with that is that, firstly, it takes a lot of time, and secondly, it's very quality. So what they've done, and I really like about this feature, is it gets rid of all of that. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this guy, and we're going to go to bitmaps, and I'm going to remove JPEG artifacts. So if there are any artifacts of this nature, any of these JAGs, it's going to remove it. That's my first step on the check. Then I'm going to hit the
Is this only for the 2020 version, Mo?
Yes, this is a 2020 feature. That's why I was asking earlier for which version you're on. So this is a 2020 feature, yes. For 100%, that's like an insane upscale. So we're going to go 400% here, you guys, in one hit. We're going to go photorealistic. We can reduce noise in the fly. We're going from just under a meg file to 15.5 meg file, okay? And it's estimating it's going to take 36 seconds for us to process that. So let's go ahead and hit the OK button. And while it's doing the 36-second process, I'm just going to explain to you what it's doing. So if you guys are familiar with bicubic interpolation, this is essentially what it's doing. So what it does is, if you can imagine a pixel grid of 9 squares, and the pixel in the middle, the pixel that will be kind of assigned to it, the added pixel, what Corel is doing is taking the 8 pixels that are surrounding it and determining an average and then adding the pixel. So the value is a lot higher and the result is a lot better. So here's your typical 400%, and this is the new upscale. So if you were to do this in the older versions, this is what you would get, 400%. If you did it in the current version, this is what you would get. So, as I was saying earlier, when it did cut off, oftentimes with these tools, you kind of get like the eye candy stuff, like the whiz bang. I'm not sure if I'm going to be using that in production. This, you and I, every single one of us, I believe, on the call, will be using it in production, right? Because it's tremendous value and something that is being demanded of us every single day of our creative lives. The second AI function I'd like to talk to you guys about is PowerTrace. Now, again, with PowerTrace, you guys, we're all familiar with...
Did you say PowerTrace? I've just got to keep tabs on you. I want to know what you're talking about and stop moving around.
So, I'm not moving. Can you give me a break there?
No, you're doing very well. I can see it's hard for you. Corel, is this CorelTRACE? Come on.
Right, so Corel PowerTrace, whether it could be our PowerTrace, I guess, if you wanted it to be yours and if you wanted to take ownership.
That's okay.
So
Can
I don't
just be
mind.
Corel's.
So PowerTrace is not necessarily something new. I'm sure everyone on this call is familiar with PowerTrace. Whether you're using older versions and it routes through to the separate app, or you're using newer versions where they've kind of now baked it into the actual main application. Where PowerTrace has become extremely powerful is it's able to take advantage of those JPEG artifact removal options as well as the upscale improvement options, and it's baked into PowerTrace. So I'd like to share this with you just to give you a sense of how cool it is now. So let's go for an outline trace. We'll go for clip art in this case. And as I was saying earlier, forgive me if I'm repeating myself. As I said earlier, when the call cut, essentially what I did is this illustration I just drew by hand on a sheet of paper. And I do that often. I'm sure a lot of us do this. And then I bring it into computer and then I will trace it and do whatever I need to it, right? So that's essentially how I'd work it. Now, not to give you a one-on-one lesson on PowerTrace. A lot of these features you probably are quite familiar with, so I'm going to talk to those. I'm going to go over to colors and just see how many colors it's kind of eked out of the artwork. It's picked up 5. I'm going to drop it to 2. I just want transparent in the black, and that's what it's going to give us there. You can see it's white and black, but because if we go back to settings, I'm saying, hey, remove the background, it's pulling out the white, okay? And then we've got this new tab. Again, this is the 2020 only feature. What we're able to do is remove JPEG artifacts. So we're able to remove the fuzziness that you're seeing on the left-hand side. And we can tell the computer whether we're dealing with an illustration or we're dealing with an image. So let me go ahead and zoom in here so you guys can see this better. And you can see that it's really being very true to the original shapes, despite the fuzziness and the artifact. And this is really phenomenally cool. When I
That's amazing.
It is cool, right? And let's do a before.
Yeah.
So that's the before on the left-hand side, and that's the after. Again, for those of us that are being pressured to get work out at a high pace, especially for those of us that are in the print industry, right? Oftentimes, what a lot of you guys do is you offer the design services as a value add to the client, and they expect it to be done for free. My advice
is a magic service, making magic with very little.
I would say don't offer work for free, because all you're doing is you reducing the value of your work. So your design work should be charged for, and charge fair value. In my opinion, if the client doesn't value what you do for them, they're going to give you a cut when it comes to pay, and they're going to just give you a hard time throughout the entire workflow. So if they don't respect you as a professional, whether you're a printer or a designer or whoever you might be, then you have the right to fire a client. They're just going to give you hassles. Trust me, I've been in the industry for a while.
So good advice, Mo.
Yeah, so typically if a client's not willing to pay for a service, suggest that they go to your competitor. It's not, that client's not worth having, truly. You know. Anyway, so coming back to the PowerTrace thing, I'm hoping you guys are able to see that this is going to offer tremendous value, whether it's logo work or whatever the case may be. And because we only have half an hour, join us for our 1 hour sessions where we can talk a lot more about this thing.
Well, 1.5 hours, we always like spending a little bit more time.
So on that note, we've kind of reached the half-hour mark, Shania. Do you want to do one more, or would you like to do a closeout, or how do you want to handle it?
Let's do one more, because just to be fair with the issues that we had in the beginning.
Okay. So,
and I'm enjoying this. I don't want to stop. I feel like I'm learning.
That's awesome. Thank you, Shania.
Yeah, people agree with me. They want more. We want more.
Okay, so it's becoming a power hour very quickly, is it? So,
well, yeah.
do you want to talk to the slide at all, or should I just jump in?
AI-powered creativity. I think you should talk to it. Or have a sip of water.
Hydrate. Don't forget to hydrate, very important.
That's what I was doing when I didn't have internet. I was having coffee, stretching my legs. I wasn't stressing at all. Sorry. Joking. I was, I was a little concerned, like about corruption and stuff. Same kind of level of concern. Stop.
Okay, guys, I don't know about you, but I'm not sure how to respond to what Shani just said. So
You don't have to. I think I
I'm
should mute my mic now. I'm talking too much.
So
Hold on.
here's a question for you guys. Is anybody using the non-destructive live effects? So live effects came online. Let me dust off the cobwebs in my brain. I believe it was either not X. Okay, the X8 is a very anything with X in front of it is like ancient. Okay, we're talking 2018. Sorry,
I even had a request. Someone saying, "Can you do a small video on 2018 with the same input, please?" See, but you're saying that's ancient. That's not nice.
No, 2018 we can talk to. X8 is just, yeah, I mean, we can talk to it, but it's just like so old.
Oh, okay.
No disrespect to anybody that may have X8 or having to deal with it. It's just that it's so old. You know, the limitations of, you know, like, I mean, technology's moved on, you know what I mean? It's like, how should I, here's an analogy. It's like driving a Datsun Triple S or a, you know, your beloved Beetle that you got when you were a student at university. I mean, you love that car, but at some point, it just costs too much money to fix. Do you know what I mean? And it's the same thing. So you then go ahead, because you've got now 3 kids and you don't know how that happened, you then go ahead and buy a Honda. You know, fuel efficiency, and you can use,
I feel like you're digressing. Okay, back to the point.
yeah. So same thing. I mean, the really old versions. I mean, we can do like an old version 90s or 80s session if you want. But for me, you know, it's like, how can the tools help me deliver the most cutting edge creative work that I possibly can do right now? So that's my kind of take. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, we can do a older version kind of. Back to the future session. Hey, Shania, there's an idea.
Yeah, back to AI-powered creativity. Let's go.
Right. So we could do like a version 1 of CorelDRAW, but I would need to get a mono screen for that because there was no color at that time. Okay,
yeah.
so the
Danielle was saying she has to use X8 due to the machine she uses for lasers. So you know, I guess there's reasons why people have different versions.
Yeah.
But anyway, moving on from the versions, tell us about what's on
the
your
laser that
screen
moved
right
on
now.
to. Okay, right. So anything that is new that you are seeing on my screen tends to have this kind of sepia tint, right? So how am I getting that? You can do this in your version of Corel too. If you go to the help menu and you go to highlight what's new, I'm saying to Corel, please highlight for me everything that's new since 2019. So the person that asked for everything from, you know, that's in 2018, I beg your pardon, this is for you. So I'm saying to the computer, show me everything that's new from 2018. So you can see Resample Image is new. So it's not in 2018. The FX thing is not in 2018. So these are the new features. And what I want to share with you is creative. So if you happen to be in the creation of content, in the framing and outputting, you know, large format posters and those types of things, I believe this is going to offer you a tremendous amount of value. Basically, if you click on the plus, you'll see that we have these non-destructive bitmap effects. And if my memory serves me correctly, this became available in 2019, one of the two, possibly 2018. And if I go to Creative, which is a new component, you'll see that we have this thing called Art Style. Yes? And basically what you can then do is go ahead and choose an art style. There's a whole host of them over here. And because it's going to go ahead and create a masterpiece painting for you, it does take a little bit of time. And then you can see that the painting has happened in the background. I'm going to encounter that because it takes too long for a webinar type session like this. And I've created some content. So I just want to share with you some of the possibilities here. So this that we're seeing on the left-hand side is a mosaic. It's called a pastel mosaic. I absolutely adore this. Then I'm telling some of my favorites. This is called Sunset. Absolutely delicious in my view. And then I'll tell you one more. This is a woodcut. Kind of got that kind of feel. Now, what we can do is we can apply. So this is a bitmap, but we can apply bitmap effects to vector.
Can you zoom in, Mo? Sorry.
Okay. So let me zoom in. And then I just run through them again in case you missed it. So the one we're looking at now, Shania and everybody else, is woodcut. It's a cool effect, right? And there's the original one. Just to remind you what's the original. There's the original, and there's the woodcut. Original, woodcut. Pretty cool, right? And that is sunset. I love sunset. It's got this cool diagram. Just do it. Original, diagram, and there's the pastel mosaic. It's also quite a delicious one. So all of these styles are going to be accessed through the methodology I just showed. Copy that? What I'm going to do is I'm going to close out with this next one, which is also part of the AI function. And that is, although these are bitmap effects, I can apply it to a vector piece of output. So you can see that these flags are part of a power clip. I'm going to hit the edit button here. I'm in the power clip. I'll go ahead and use my red tool, and you can see I've selected these three objects. And then just to make sure that you guys can see this better, let me zoom into that. I'll drop into those three objects, right? And I'll go over properties. And now what I can do is if I jump in here, I'm going to go ahead and do a color change, right? Which, as you know, is a hue saturation is an image effect. But I'm going to use it in the context of vector, which is pretty wicked. So I'll go to adjust, and I'll go ahead and choose hue saturation lightness. For those of us that are not familiar with this, hue is color. Saturation is the intensity of color, and lightness works like a dimmer switch in your lounge. I'm just going to whack around the hue. And you can see real time, I'm changing the color of those elements. I can adjust the saturation, make it more color intense. And I can choose to make it lighter or darker. I can target just the cyans, for example, and say I want to make a color change to just the cyans. Right? So I can go ahead and up the saturation with those values. So you can control any one of the primary colors. And this little icon on the far bottom left, next to the preview, gives you the before and after. So you're able to see before and after and make a determination on whether you're happy with the changes you're making. And if you hit this preview button, of course, that's going to show it to you in context or in situ in terms of your artwork as well. Okay. So I'll go ahead and okay on that. And that's basically it done. Now, the cool thing here is that clients always change their minds. And this is an important point I'd like to point out to you. So if the client comes back to you, right, unless the client's your mom, they're going to love everything you do and offer to pay you lots of money, but she's broke, so that's not going to work. You can go ahead and choose to disable the effect if the client wants to see it before and after. Or if the effect the client feels is too strong, you can go ahead and hit the little pencil icon and say, listen, I just want to tone you down a little bit. So I'm removing saturation and I'll up the lightness just to make it quite exaggerated, okay? So it's becoming less colorful now. So again, I can show the before and the after, or I can hit the little preview icon and look at the before and after. And that's basically how that all comes together, you guys. So it's pretty phenomenal, right? It's a live effect. You can stack as many on top of each other as you choose, or one another as you choose, and they're totally non-destructive. If you've got so I'm running this in a mobile studio with 32 gigs of RAM, solid-state hard drive, so it's got a little bit of power. If you're running an older machine, there's going to be a bit of wait time. It will work. You just need to be a little bit patient with the machine having to do all the work, okay? All right, so that brings us to 11:51, Shania. I'll throw this back at you. I'm not sure if you'd like us to close out at this point, or maybe do another session next month. Maybe that's a good idea, based on whatever feedback we get. I'm happy to tackle any questions if there may be any.
No, I would have interrupted if there were. So, no, I think let's wrap it up. We really just wanted to give you some bonus content for free. Again, just apologies for the technical issues. I mean, we really, really appreciate you joining us today. And if there's anything else that you'd like us to cover, please you can share that in the chat section now. I will email you the link of the session tomorrow morning, and you're welcome to respond to that email that I send you as well if there's any unanswered questions that you have, or any other info you want. Mo, just a quick question. What was that special that Corel is pushing at the moment? Just some people didn't missed that and they're asking about it now.
Yeah, so I just picked up on it yesterday. I got an email from them saying that they're giving a 3,200 Rand cash back. So they just give you 3,200 bucks back. So if you want more info, just ping us and we can put you in touch with them. You can have a conversation directly with them, make the purchase with you if you see the need.
Okay.
And again, like, I mean, just, you know, as we speak as creators, like, you need to be able to justify the tool, and it needs to bring value back to what you do. So, you know, I choose to go with the subscriptions, and the reason for that is that I get the latest versions, and some people don't like that. So you can then go and buy the, you know, the full version, and you can then choose to skip versions if you wish, and so on and so on. But I need to be on the most current version, and if you like to work that way, then that's an option for you. And I believe, again, and I don't work for them, I believe the pricing is around about $5 or $6 grand a year for the subscription. And what it allows you to do is it allows you to work, it gives you access to one cool app. If you forgive me, Sean, if I could just show this really quickly. So this is an app called CorelDRAW app that you get with CorelDRAW. You don't install anything on your computer. It comes free with CorelDRAW. Well, it's not free, you're paying for it, of course, but you don't pay anything extra, I guess I should say. Now, what this allows you to do is it allows you to design on the fly. So if you're sitting with a client in a coffee shop and they want you to put together a social media card and you happen to be in print, my advice to you is not to say no to that anymore because you've got the templates to help you drive this, right? So for example, you can just pick that, the tools are very straightforward. You can take this back to CorelDRAW. So while you're sitting with client, you can take, you know, whatever needs to happen. You can see all of this is accessible. And then if you want to send this back to the client, you just put it to the cloud. So you can just say, hey, save as. And it says, how do you want to save it? I want to save it as a CorelDRAW app. I want to keep it editable, whatever the case may be. Hit the OK button. And then I can say, hey, listen, I want to download a CorelDRAW file. Excuse me, I can get some work on the cloud. And of course, one final thing on this is this app allows you to share content. You know, like if you're doing proofing with clients, you can send content to your client, right? Without converting to PDF or whatever. And they're able to participate in a review with you real time, and the comments come directly into CorelDRAW. So that's a really, really awesome feature. And perhaps we'll talk about that in the next version, Sean.
Yeah. Okay, well, there's been a lot of interest in the 2020 version. I think we must just share those details with the guys. And if you didn't hear anything, there was definitely sound coming through. I know the quality wasn't great, and I'm sure that in the video we send out tomorrow, you'll get to hear what was discussed, if there's anything that you missed. And again, if you have any questions, you can just email myself. I can pass that on to Mo. He's really good at getting back to people, I just want to say right now. And he's given me a lot of things to do too. But I think we can call it a wrap for today. You know, the important thing is that even if you've just pulled out one nugget that's going to save you some time, or you've learned something that you didn't know, that's what really counts. And we really, really appreciate your time, Mo. Thanks for presenting again. I love presenting with you. It's my all-time favorite thing. And thanks to everyone that stayed online until now. I mean, actually, you guys have been really good hanging in there till the bitter end. But we hope that you have a good day further. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. Take care, you guys. Bye-bye.
Cheers.